I don't understand. I don't understand something. I am completely confused about something here. I'm sitting here in my mind and thinking about where we are right now with the Cowboys, okay? We got Zeke Elliott as a running back, over the hill, as everybody says. Last year we had Tony Pollard without Zeke Elliott. Mind you, the year before we had over 2,000 yards rushing. Last year we only had 1,600. We had CeeDee Lamb, who had a record-breaking season for the Cowboys last year with 1,700 yards. Brandon Cooks was second at wide receiver at 600 some, and Ferguson, I think, was 700 some odd yards. So almost 1,000 yards less to your second guy. Your offensive line, you had two weak links in it really last year because Terrence Steele was coming back from the ACL, and he really was not real great last year, not like he was before the ACL. And Biadasz is Biadasz. He's serviceable, he's okay, but he's not outstanding. So you had problems on the offensive line, right? And then you have a quarterback who is not, in some people's mind, a top 15 quarterback in Colin Cowherd and what's his name, right? So when I look at the Eagles, who always tell me that, for example, Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, right? And when I point out the number of touchdown catches, they say, well, you're not being fair because you're not counting, of course, his rushing TDs as well. Okay, I get you that. But they tell me that, receiver-wise, that they are in better shape because they got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they got Dallas Goedert. That they're way better. And of course, they had like Swift last year. In fact, you could look and say the Eagles have always been a great running team with their running quarterback as well. That they're one of the better running teams of football, so to speak. And then there's the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, they got the biggest weapon out there in Tyreek Hill. They are so good. They are so good that a wide receiver that we had, that was our, number 3 wide receiver and played a lot, literally can't get on the field because they got Jalen Waddle and stuff, the Tyreek Hills, and, they're loaded, right? And of course, Tua, tank for Tua, because he's so much better than Dak Prescott, right? And then you think about San Francisco, who arguably have the best left tackle in football, and Trent Williams, who literally ended Leighton Vander Esch's career with a shot from the back. You have the best running back in Christian McCaffrey. You've got the most physical wide receiver in Deebo Samuels, and you had, one of the best route runners out there in Brandon Ayuk, right? And not to mention Skittle Kittle on their offense, right? I mean, clearly, you look at the offensive weapons for Miami, you got to say it's better than Dallas. You got to look at the 49ers and say that's better than Dallas. You got to look at the offensive weapons for the Eagles and say that's better than Dallas. And then on the Ravens, you've got, of course, the MVP with Lamar Jackson. You had guys like Odell Beckham and everything else last year on him, right? Right. And then you got Jared Goff, who been to a Super Bowl and just got paid big time, right? Jared Goff and, all the weapons that they got, that was a great team right there, right? You could take the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills that, had Diggs over there, who was a great weapon. And, of course, Josh Allen, who, some guys say that he is the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Pat Mahomes, right? You got the Rams, of course, with Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford and everything else. All of these teams that you look at and say, yeah, because they keep telling us that, we need better weapons. We need a better running back. We need to get another wide receiver. They told us last year we need to get another tight end, right? So I'm trying to, I look at that. I listen to all the people that say, the Cowboys offense is going to have 2 rookie offensive linemen that are starting and that they're in trouble. And I don't understand. So let me see if I get this right. Terrence Steele should be better this year because he's a year removed from the ACL and you start to trust the knee more. Cooper Beebe, I hope, is going to be the juggernaut. But Brock Hoffman has played 3 games last year, and in some cases you could look and say, I think Brock Hoffman was better than Biadasz. That's an argument. Now, Tyron Smith, I'm not going to say that my man's ready to be like Tyron Smith, but in past years we've been without Tyron Smith. So looking at the Cowboys at the moment, I know we lost Michael Gallup, okay? Now, if it had been Michael Gallup about 4 years ago, then that would be a major loss. But I'm not sure that Cowboys lost anything with Michael Gallup. And then I look at Tyron Smith, yeah, that's a big loss. But I look at what we gain, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking in my mind, there were all these teams that had better weapons around the quarterback, right? San Francisco, there's no question. The Eagles, there's no question. The Rams, I don't think there's a question there. The Lions, Dolphins, right? So explain to me this one. How is it that the Dallas Cowboys had the highest scoring offense in the NFL last year? They had the highest scoring offense in the NFL. You can't look and say that they had the best weapons, right? How do you explain that one? I'm asking for a friend. How do you explain that the Cowboys were able to score more points per game than the Miami Dolphins, than the Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Lions, the Eagles, the Bills, and the Rams? And I know people are going to say, well, yeah, it's because you had a cake schedule and it's garbage time. Well, do you know how many games last year that Dak Prescott didn't finish, that Cooper Rush got a chance to play? There's a lot of them. I want to say that was probably about 9 or so, because some of those games, he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. If the Cowboys have inferior personnel than other teams that have more, how is it the Cowboys were the highest scoring team? How is it that the Cowboys have been actually one of the top scoring teams over the last 4 years, with the exception of the year that Dak Prescott got hurt? I'm asking for a friend, because at some points you have to look at it and say that the Cowboys put up 509 points last year. More than all those guys. At some point you have to say, maybe the quarterback is pretty good, because you don't score, I'm sorry. And I don't want to hear this saying that, well, you were a weak division. If that were the case, then explain to me how come the Eagles scored 4.5 points less per game with better talent. Explain that to me. Explain another thing to me. Why is it people look at the Cowboys that pretty much brought back all of their offensive weapons, with the exception of Tony Pollard, who had a down year, and exchanged him with Zeke, that you think that the highest scoring offense from last year is somehow going to crater and just be a losing team? Because I saw this article that literally said that the Cowboys could trade Dak Prescott in the middle of the season to a contender. Dak would have to waive his no-trade clause. I don't know that that happens. And you're honestly going to tell me that the Cowboys are going to go from being the highest score offense with very few changes to then being that bad? I don't think so. But then turn around and say the Eagles are going to return to the Super Bowl. Why? Because of all the talent they brought in. So the Cowboys having 2 rookies that may start at offensive line, they're going to be shit the Eagles, who had the 31st pass defense, that may have 2 rookies starting, somehow they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm just trying to make it make sense, people. If you have the answer for me on that one, I'd like to hear it. Hope you all are having a great day. We got Mike over here working on something new here for the Man Cave. We've got the autograph signing show tomorrow, and I can't wait. Bad news is Jay Novacek has been canceled for it. But Tyron Smith, geez. Michael Irvin will be there and Charles Haley will be there. So it's going to be a short day. All right, good people. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Peace.